The Los Angeles Rams are a professional American football team based in the Los Angeles metropolitan area. The Rams compete in the National Football League as a member of the National Football Conference West Division. The Rams play their home games at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, which they share with the Los Angeles Chargers. The franchise was founded in 1936 as the Cleveland Rams in Cleveland, Ohio. The franchise won the 1945 NFL Championship game, then moved to Los Angeles in 1946, making way for Paul Brown's Cleveland Browns of the All-America Football Conference and becoming the only NFL championship team to play the following season in another city. The club played its home games at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum until 1980, when it moved into a reconstructed Anaheim Stadium in Orange County, California. The Rams made their first Super Bowl appearance at the end of the 1979 NFL season, losing Super Bowl XIV to the Pittsburgh Steelers, 31-19. After the 1994 NFL season, the Rams left Southern California and moved to St. Louis, Missouri, becoming the St. Louis Rams. 5 seasons later, the team defeated the Tennessee Titans to win Super Bowl XXXIV, 23-16. The club then lost Super Bowl XXXVI, 2017, to the New England Patriots. After the 2015 NFL season, the team sought and received approval from the other owners to move back to Los Angeles in time for the 2016 NFL season. The Rams appeared in Super Bowl LIII but lost to the Patriots, 13-3. 3 years later, the Rams defeated the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20 to win Super Bowl LVI, becoming the second NFL team to win the Super Bowl in its home stadium. The club is the only NFL franchise to win championships representing 3 cities: Cleveland in 1945, Los Angeles in 1951 and 2021, and St. Louis in 1999. Franchise history. Cleveland Rams. The Cleveland Rams were founded in 1936 by Ohio attorney Homer Marshman and player-coach Damon Wetzel, a former Ohio State star who played briefly for the Chicago Bears and Pittsburgh Pirates. Wetzel, who served as general manager, selected the Rams because his favorite college football team was the Fordham Rams from Fordham University. Marshman, the principal owner, also liked the name choice. The team was part of the newly formed American Football League and finished the 1936 regular season in second place with a 5-2-2 record, trailing only the 8-3 record of league champion Boston Shamrocks. The team featured players such as William Bud Cooper, Harry the Horse Mattos, Stan Pincura, and Mike Sebastian. The Rams joined the National Football League on February 12, 1937, and were assigned to the Western Division. The Rams would be the fourth in a string of short-lived teams based in Cleveland, following the Cleveland Tigers, Cleveland Bulldogs, and Cleveland Indians. From the beginning, they were a team marked by frequent moves, playing in 3 stadiums over several losing seasons. However, the team featured the most valuable player of the 1939 season, rookie halfback Parker Hall. In June 1941, the Rams were bought by Dan Reeves and Fred Levy Jr. Reeves, an heir to his family's grocery chain business that had been purchased by Safeway, used some of his inheritance to buy his share of the team. Levy's family owned the Levy Brothers department store chain in Kentucky, and he came to own the Riverside International Raceway. Levy owned part of the Rams with Bob Hope, another of the owners, until Reeves bought out his partners in 1962. The franchise suspended operations and sat out the 1943 season because of a shortage of players during World War II and resumed playing in 1944. NFL champions. First Los Angeles Rams era. On January 12, 1946, Reeves was denied a request by the other NFL owners to move the Cleveland Rams to Los Angeles and the then 103,000-seat Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. He threatened to end his relationship with the NFL and get out of the professional football business altogether unless the transfer to Los Angeles was permitted. A settlement was reached and, as a result, Reeves was allowed to move his team to Los Angeles. Consequently, the NFL became the first professional coast-to-coast sports entertainment industry. From 1933, when Joe Lillard left the Chicago Cardinals, through 1946, there were no black players in professional American football. After the Rams had received approval to move to Los Angeles, they entered into negotiations to lease the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. The Rams were advised that a precondition to them getting a lease was that they would have to integrate the team with at least one African American. The Rams agreed. Subsequently, the Rams signed Kenny Washington on March 21, 1946. The signing of Washington caused all hell to break loose among the owners of the NFL franchises. The Rams added a second black player, Woody Strode, on May 7, 1946, giving them two black players going into the 1946 season. The Rams were the first team in the NFL to play in Los Angeles, but they were not the only professional football team to play its home games in the Coliseum between 1946 and 1949. The upstart All-America Football Conference had the Los Angeles Dons compete there as well. Reeves was taking a gamble that Los Angeles was ready for its own professional football team, and suddenly there were two in the City of Angels. Reeves was proven to be correct when the Rams played their first preseason game against the Washington Redskins in front of a crowd of 95,000 fans. The team finished their first season in LA with a 6-4-1 record, second place behind the Chicago Bears. At the end of the season, Walsh was fired as head coach. The Coliseum was home for the Rams for more than 30 years, but the facility was already over 20 years old on the day of the first kickoff. In 1948, halfback Fred Guerca painted horns on the Rams' helmets, making the first helmet emblem in pro football. Late in 1949, the Dons were folded into the Rams when the All-America Football Conference ceased operations. NFL champions: Chuck Knox/Ray Malavasi years. John Robinson years. Chuck Knox returns. St. Louis Rams. The 1995 and 1996 seasons, the Rams' first two in St. Louis, were under the direction of former Oregon Ducks head coach Rich Brooks. Their most prolific player from their first two seasons was the fan favorite Isaac Bruce. Dick Vermeil/Mike Martz years. Super Bowl XXXIV champions. Second Los Angeles Rams era. On January 5, 2015, the Los Angeles Times reported that Kroenke and the Stockbridge Capital Group were partnering to develop a new NFL stadium on an Inglewood property owned by Kroenke. On February 24, 2015, the Inglewood City Council approved the stadium, and the initiative with construction on the stadium planned to begin in December 2015. The Rams moved to their new stadium in Inglewood in 2020. The day following the conclusion of the 2015 regular season, the Rams, Oakland Raiders, and San Diego Chargers all filed to move to Los Angeles. The same day, the NFL announced that any franchise approved for relocation would need to pay a $550 million fee. On January 12, 2016, the NFL team owners voted 32 to allow the Rams to return to Los Angeles. The Rams were the first Major League sports team to move since 2011, when the National Hockey League's Atlanta Thrashers left Atlanta and became the new Winnipeg Jets. The team held a press conference at the Forum in Inglewood on January 15, 2016, to announce its return to Los Angeles to start play in the 2016 season, and on that day the Rams began a campaign that lasted through February 8 and resulted in more than 56,000 season ticket deposits made. The Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum was the temporary home stadium of the Rams for 4 seasons until SoFi Stadium was opened for the 2020 season. On February 4, 2016, the Los Angeles Rams selected Oxnard to be the site of their mini-camp, off-season team activities, and off-season program that began on April 18. In March, it was announced that the Rams would be featured on HBO's Hard Knocks. On March 30, California Lutheran University and the Rams reached an agreement that allowed the team to have regular season training operations at CLU's campus for the next 2 years. The Rams paid for 2 practice fields, paved parking, and modular buildings constructed on the northwestern corner of the campus. On April 14, 2016, the Rams traded with the Tennessee Titans for the first overall pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, along with a 4th and 6th round pick in the same draft. To acquire the picks, the Rams traded away their first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, and a third-round pick in 2016, and their first and third-round picks in the 2017 NFL Draft. On April 28, 2016, the Rams made their first selection in the 2016 NFL Draft by selecting California quarterback Jared Goff first overall. In June 2016, it was reported that the Rams had sold 63,000 season tickets, which was short of their goal of 70,000. Later on July 12, 2016, it was reported that they had sold 70,000 tickets, reaching their goal. In July 2016, the Rams signed a 3-year agreement with UC Irvine to use the university's facilities for training camp, with an option to extend it to 2 more years. On July 29, 2016, the Los Angeles Times reported that the Rams would host their first training camp practice and Rams Family Day on Saturday, August 6 at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, which was open to the public. The Rams played their first game in the Los Angeles area since 1994, a 22-year absence, with a preseason opener against the Dallas Cowboys at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum on August 13. The Rams won, 28-24, in front of a crowd of 89,140, a record attendance for a preseason game. On September 12, 2016, the Rams played their first regular season game since returning to Los Angeles, where they lost to the San Francisco 49ers 28-0 at Levi's Stadium. On September 18, in front of over 91,000 fans at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, the Rams beat the Seattle Seahawks 9-3 in their first home regular season game in Los Angeles since 1994. And their first game at the Coliseum since 1979. On December 12, 2016, the team fired head coach Jeff Fisher after starting the season 4-9. The team announced later that day that John Fassel would be taking over as interim head coach. Sean McVay era. Super Bowl LVI champions. Team value. Forbes magazine estimated the worth of the team in 2015 as $1.45 billion, which at the time were the 28th most valuable NFL team and 44th most valuable sports team in the world. However, after moving back to Los Angeles, it was reported by CBS Sports that the Rams' value shot up to $2.9 billion, placing them third in the NFL. On September 15, 2016, Forbes released their 2016 The Business of Football Valuations list. The Los Angeles Rams' value was $2.9 billion, making the team the 6th most valuable team in the NFL. In 2021, Forbes released their annual NFL team values list. The Rams were ranked 4th on the list, at $4.8 billion, behind the Dallas Cowboys, New England Patriots, and New York Giants. Although the move from St. Louis to Los Angeles was controversial, the move was evidently worth it in terms of valuation. The franchise is one of the fastest-growing sports teams in the world and achieved unprecedented year-by-year rankings as previously mentioned. Culture. Given the extensive history of Los Angeles' relationship within the film and music industries, a large number of celebrity fans have shown their support for the Rams following their relocation in 2016. Such celebrities include Taran Killam, Jessica Alba, Ryan Seacrest, John Legend, YG, Kendrick Lamar, Rebel Wilson, and Niall Horan. A fair amount of celebrity fans had been longtime fans of the team even during their original tenure in Los Angeles prior to their relocation to St. Louis, such as actors Danny Trejo, Robert Patrick, Cedric the Entertainer, Bryan Cranston, Ty Burrell, Rob Lowe, musicians such as Rage Against the Machine guitarist Tom Morello, Motley Crue bassist Nicky Six, Blink-182 bassist Mark Hoppus, Red Hot Chili Peppers bassist Flea, and NWA member DJ Yella. Actor Terry Crews is another notable fan, as he was also drafted by the Rams in 1991 during his brief NFL career. Following the Rams' announced sale of seat licenses in 2016, Magic Johnson was the first person reported to have purchased season tickets. Rivalries. San Francisco 49ers. The Rams' rivalry with the 49ers extends back to the 1950s following the inception of the 49ers in 1950, when both teams were original members of the NFC West. The rivalry began to rise in intensity during the 1970s when the two clubs would regularly fight for control of the division. The 1980s even yielded more notable matchups between the two teams, predominantly in favor of the 49ers. The two teams have met in the postseason 3 times, including the 1989 NFC Championship. Following the Rams' move to St. Louis in 1995, the rivalry did not have the same geographical hatred between San Francisco and Los Angeles, but there were still notable matchups between the two teams as the Rams re-emerged successful in the postseason at the beginning of the millennium. The rivalry has recently gained more elements of relevance within the league as the Rams returned to Los Angeles in 2016. Sports Illustrated considers their rivalry the 8th best of all time in the National Football League. The 49ers and Rams are also the only two teams who have been a part of the NFC West since it was formed in 1970. Notable recent similarities between the teams include the hiring of 2 former Washington Redskins offensive staff as head coaches for both clubs. Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan have both been credited with turning their respective teams around and making returns to the postseason. McVay managed to return the Rams to the Super Bowl in 2018, while Shanahan made an appearance the following season. Most recently, in 2021-22, Shanahan's 49ers defeated the Rams twice in the regular season, but McVay's Rams got redemption by defeating San Francisco in that year's NFC Championship game, and Los Angeles would go on to win Super Bowl LVI. Seattle Seahawks. The Rams' rivalry with the Seattle Seahawks came into existence in 2002 following the Seahawks' relocation to the NFC West. The first notable matchup between the two clubs occurred in the 2004 NFC wildcard round when the Rams managed to defeat the Seahawks in Seattle 27-20 and currently hold the streak for the only 2 wins against the Seahawks at home during the postseason. Much of the intensity waned as the Rams declined in competition throughout the 2000s and early 2010s, but several notable matchups between the two clubs would still occur. Most recently, the rivalry has grown exponentially in animosity between the two clubs, with notable moments of taunting or violence occurring. Following the Rams' return to Los Angeles in 2016, and subsequent playoff success, the rivalry has increased in intensity, especially as Seattle's legion of boom-era teams waned in competition. Tensions especially ran high during the 2021 wildcard game following a widely publicized taunt from safety Jamal Adams during a post-game conference after a tough win over the Rams during Week 16. The Rams would go on to decimate the Seahawks in the wild card game, with cornerback Jalen Ramsey and quarterback Jared Goff expressing their satisfaction to get retribution following Adams' comments and cigar gesture. The Seahawks lead the series 25-24, but the Rams have won both playoff meetings. Los Angeles Raiders / Los Angeles Chargers. Initially considered the Battle of Los Angeles during the Raiders' tenure in Los Angeles from 1982 to 1994, the rivalry was non-existent as the Rams had also moved to St. Louis the same year. The Raiders unsuccessfully attempted to move back to Los Angeles in 2015 after a failed joint stadium project with the then San Diego Chargers. The intercity rivalry was revived only with the Los Angeles Chargers being the city's AFC team following the Rams' return to Los Angeles in 2016, and their move from San Diego in 2017. Hostility erupted between the two clubs during a 2017 joint scrimmage at the Rams training camp in Irvine, California. Rams cornerback nickel Roby Coleman and Chargers receiver Keenan Allen initiated an altercation and multiple players rushed into the skirmish, creating an uproar from the crowd. Following the hiring of coach Sean McVay in 2017, the Rams managed to win back-to-back division titles, including an appearance in Super Bowl LIII during McVay's second season as head coach. The Chargers experienced their own playoff success by boasting a 12-4 record in 2018 and making an appearance in the 2018 AFC divisional round but also losing to the New England Patriots. The Rams lead the only regular season matchup in Los Angeles thus far. Arizona Cardinals. One of the oldest matchups for the Cardinals as both teams first met during the 1937 NFL season whilst the Rams played in Cleveland, and the Cardinals were still originally located in Chicago. The rivalry has resurged in recent years as both teams found playoff success. Despite the Cardinals' best efforts, the Rams have been 9-1 since hiring head coach Sean McVay in 2017. The Week 17 matchup of the 2020 season saw both teams playing for a playoff berth. Despite the injury to quarterback Jared Goff, the Rams managed to pull off a victory over the Cardinals in a 7-18 loss that would eliminate them from the postseason. The Cardinals' streak would end against the Rams the following season. They would also manage to steal the lead of the NFC from the Rams and start the season 7-0. The following matchup would see the Rams pull off a win on Monday Night Football. The Cardinals would also struggle by losing 6 of 10 games since their 7-0 start. The Cardinals would clinch a wild card berth after a Week 17 win over the Dallas Cowboys. Ironically, they would play the Rams in Los Angeles and lose in a 34-11 blowout loss that would see Kyler Murray throw 2 interceptions with one returning for a pick six. The Rams own the series 47-39-2 in addition to 2 postseason wins in 1975 and 2022 respectively. Dallas Cowboys. The rivalry between the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams became prominent during the 1970s and 1980s. The Cowboys met the Rams 8 times during that span and split those meetings. 2 of those matchups decided the NFC's representative in the Super Bowl, with the Cowboys prevailing on both occasions. As of 2021, the series is currently tied 18-18, with the Rams leading 5-4 in the playoffs. Logos and uniforms. The Rams were the first NFL team to have a logo on their helmets. Ever since halfback Fred Guerka, who worked as a commercial artist in off-seasons, painted ram horns on the team's leather helmets in 1948, the logo has been the club's trademark. When the team debuted in 1937, the Rams' colors were red and black, featuring red helmets, black uniforms with red shoulders and sleeves, tan pants, and red socks with black and white stripes. 1 year later they switched their team colors to gold and royal blue, with gold helmets, white pants, royal blue uniforms with gold numbers and gold shoulders, white pants with a royal stripe, and solid royal blue socks. By the mid-1940s the Rams had adopted gold jerseys. The uniforms were unchanged as the team moved to Los Angeles. The helmets were changed to navy in 1947. When Gherka introduced the horns, they were painted yellow-gold on navy blue helmets. In 1949 the team adopted plastic helmets, and the Rams' horns were rendered by the Riddle Company of Des Plaines, Illinois, which baked a painted design into the helmet at its factory. Also in 1949 the serif jersey numerals gave way to more standard block numbers. Wider, bolder horns joined at the helmet center front and curving around the ear hole appeared in 1950, this design was somewhat tapered in 1954–1955. Also in 1950 a blue-gold-blue tri-stripe appeared on the pants and Northwestern University-style royal blue stripes were added to jersey sleeves. A white border was added to the blue jersey numerals in 1953. So-called TV numbers were added on jersey sleeves in 1956. In accordance with a 1957 NFL rule dictating that the home team wear dark, primary colored jerseys and the road team light shirts, the Rams hurriedly readied for the regular season new royal blue home jerseys with golden striping and golden front and back numerals with a white border. The white border was removed in 1958. The Rams continued to wear their golden jerseys for 1957 road games, but the following year adopted a white jersey with blue numerals and stripes. In 1962–1963 the team's road white jersey featured a UCLA-style blue-gold-blue crescent shoulder tri-stripe. In 1964, concurrent with a major remodeling of the team's Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum home, the colors were changed to a simpler blue and white. The new helmet horns were white, wider, and separated at the helmet center front. The blue jersey had white numerals with two white sleeve stripes. The white jersey featured blue numerals and a wide blue crescent shoulder stripe. A 1964 league rule allowed teams to wear white jerseys for home games and the Rams were among several teams to do so, as owner Dan Reeves felt it would be more enjoyable for fans to see the various colors of the rest of the league as opposed to always having the Rams in blue and the visiting team in white. The pants were white with a thick blue stripe. In 1970, in keeping with the standards of the newly merged NFL, names appeared on the jersey backs for the first time. The sleeve TV numbers, quite large compared to those of other teams, were made smaller in 1965. From 1964 to early 1972 the Rams wore white jerseys for every home league game and exhibition, at one point not wearing their blue jerseys at all from the 10th game of 1967 through the 1971 opener, a stretch of 48 games. It was a tradition that continued under coaches Harlan Svar, George Allen, and Tommy Prothro. But new owner Carroll Rosenblum did not particularly like the Rams' uniforms, so in pursuit of a new look the team wore its seldom used blue jerseys for most home games in 1972. During that season Rosenblum's Rams also announced an intention to revive the old blue and gold colors for 1973, and asked fans to send in design ideas. Yellow gold was restored to the team's color scheme in 1973. The new uniform design consisted of yellow gold pants and curling Rams horns on the sleeves, yellow gold horns curving from the shoulders to the arms on the blue jerseys, which featured golden numerals. Players' names were in contrasting white. The white jersey had similarly shaped blue horns, numerals, and names. The white jerseys also had yellow gold sleeves. The gold pants included a blue-white-blue tri-stripe, which was gradually widened through the 1970s and early 1980s. The blue socks initially featured two thin golden stripes in the middle of the blue section. They disappeared upon their move to St. Louis in 1995. From 1973 to 1976 the Rams were the only team to wear white cleats on the road and royal blue cleats at home. Since 1977, they have worn white ones. The new golden helmet horns were of identical shape, but for the first time the horn was not factory painted but instead a decal applied to the helmet. The decal was cut in sections and affixed to accommodate spaces for face mask and chin strap attachments, and so the horn curved farther around the ear hole. The jersey numerals were made thicker and blunter in 1975. The Rams primarily wore blue at home with this combination, but after 1977 occasionally wore white at home. The team wore its white jerseys for most of its 1978 home dates, including its postseason games with the Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys. The latter is the only postseason game the Cowboys have ever won while outfitted in their blue jerseys. The gray face masks became navy blue in 1981. The Rams wore white jerseys exclusively in the 1982 and 1993 seasons, as well as other selected occasions throughout their 15 seasons in Anaheim. On April 12, 2000, the St. Louis Rams debuted new logos, team colors, and uniforms. The Rams' primary colors were changed from royal blue and yellow to millennium blue and new century gold. A new logo of a charging ram's head was added to the sleeves and gold stripes were added to the sides of the jerseys. The new gold pants no longer featured any stripes. Blue pants and white pants with a small gold stripe were also an option, with the Rams electing to wear the white set in a preseason game in San Diego in 2001. The helmet design essentially remained the same as it was in 1948, except for updates to the coloring, navy blue field with gold horns. The 2000 Rams horn design featured a slightly wider separation at the helmet's center. Both home and away jerseys had a gold stripe that ran down each side, but that only lasted for the 2000 and 2001 seasons. Additionally, the TV numbers on the jerseys, which had previously been on the sleeve, moved up to the shoulder pad. In 2003, the Rams wore blue pants with their white jerseys for a pair of early season games, but after losses to the New York Giants and Seattle Seahawks, the Rams reverted to gold pants with their white jerseys. In 2005, the Rams wore the blue pants at home against Arizona and on the road against Dallas. In 2007, the Rams wore all possible combinations of their uniforms. They wore the blue tops and gold pants at home against Carolina, San Francisco, Cleveland, Seattle, and on the road against Dallas. They wore the blue tops and blue pants at home against Arizona, Atlanta, and Pittsburgh on Marshall Faulk Night. They wore the blue tops and white pants on the road in Tampa Bay and at home against Green Bay. They wore white tops and gold pants at New Orleans and San Francisco. They wore white tops and white pants at Seattle and Arizona. And they wore white tops and blue pants at Baltimore and Cincinnati. In 2008, the Rams did away with the gold pants after they were used for only one regular season game at Seattle. The blue jerseys with white pants and white jerseys with blue pants combinations were used most of the time. For the 2009 season, the Rams elected to wear the white pants with both jerseys for the majority of the time except the games against the Vikings and Texans, where they wore the throwback jerseys from the 1999 season, Week 2 in Washington when they wore gold pants with the blue jersey, and Week 12 against Seattle when they wore blue pants with the blue jersey. The Rams ceased wearing the new Century Gold pants after Nike took over as the NFL's uniform supplier in 2012. During their time in St. Louis, the Rams had worn blue at home. Like most other teams playing in a dome, the Rams did not need to wear white to gain an advantage with the heat. The Rams wore their white jerseys and blue pants in St. Louis against the Dallas Cowboys, on October 19, 2008, forcing the Cowboys to wear their unlucky blue uniforms, and won the game 34-14. On October 21, 2012, the Rams wore white jerseys and white pants against the Green Bay Packers. The NFL approved the use of throwback uniforms for the club during the 2009 season, to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the 1999 Super Bowl championship. The Rams wore the throwback uniforms for 2 home games in 2009, on October 11 against the Minnesota Vikings and on December 20 against the Houston Texans. The Rams wore their 1999 throwbacks again on October 31, 2010, when they beat the Carolina Panthers 2010. The throwbacks have since then seen action for 2 select regular season games each year since. In 1994, the team's last season in Southern California, the Rams wore jerseys and pants replicating those of their 1951 championship season for their September games with the San Francisco 49ers and Kansas City Chiefs. 4 days after the NFL approved their return to Los Angeles, the team made slight changes to its branding. The only change to the team's wordmark logo was the location name, from St. Louis to Los Angeles, to reflect the team's move. The team's colors were retained. The Rams also announced there would be no significant changes to the team's uniforms, apart from the newly updated logos with the Los Angeles location name. In a March 21, 2016 interview with the Los Angeles Times, Team Chief Operating Officer Kevin Demoff said that there would be no uniform change for the team until 2019. However, the stadium completion was pushed back 1 year into 2020 in May 2017, pushing the rebrand back to 2020 along with it. On August 11, 2016, the team announced on Twitter that it would wear its all-white uniforms for 5 of the team's 8 home games during the 2016 season as a nod to the fearsome foursome era. The Rams wore their alternative royal blue and gold throwback uniforms for the other 2 games at the Coliseum and wore their midnight blue jerseys at their international game at Twickenham Stadium. Throughout the 2016 season, the Rams signage around the stadium, end zones, and other uses of the logo showed a variation that was only colored in blue and white, leading some fans to believe the team's upcoming rebrand would involve gold being completely dropped from the color scheme. For the 2017 season, the Rams announced they would be wearing helmets similar to the fearsome foursome era, Millennium Blue helmets with white helmet horns and, voted on by fans, a white face mask. Fans also voted for a new pants design, which was a single blue stripe down the side of white pants, as well as an inverse design for road games. The team also began using the blue and white logo as their primary logo, confirming that they would be phasing out gold from their color scheme, although gold remained on the jerseys due to an NFL rule that teams must have the same jersey design for at least a minimum of 5 seasons. The Rams also announced a fan vote via Twitter to decide which 2 home games they would wear throwback uniforms. Fans selected the October 8, 2017, game against the Seahawks and the December 31, 2017, game against the 49ers, the same 2 opponents the Rams wore throwbacks against the prior season. In their Week 3 road game against the 49ers, the Rams also participated in NFL Color Rush, wearing throwback-style all-yellow uniforms with blue detailing and blue numbers, as well as yellow horns on the helmets and white stripes outlined in blue on the pants. On July 27, 2018, the Rams announced that they would wear their throwback royal blue and yellow primary color uniform for home games at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum for the 2018 season. In conjunction with the change, the team retired its navy blue and metallic gold uniform. The Rams' white uniform remained unchanged, and its one alternate uniform is the yellow Color Rush uniform. Additionally, the team confirmed their new rebrand would take place in 2020 to coincide with the opening of their new home stadium, SoFi Stadium. On March 23, 2020, the Rams officially unveiled a new logo set and color scheme. The new primary logo features stylized LA lettering with a ram's horn forming and spiraling out of the top of the A, with gradients to show curvature similar to a real ram's horn. A website showcasing the new look says the letters were included ensuring that the Rams are forever tied to the city of Los Angeles. The secondary logo is a ram's head that combines several elements from previous logos of the team. New word marks were introduced as well, and the team's new colors were revealed as Rams Royal and Soul. Despite the optimism of the Rams design team, the logo was very poorly received by a majority of the fanbase. Kevin Demoff stated that the two key elements the team kept in mind were the horns, which had long been symbolic of the team, and the royal blue and yellow color scheme. Demoff stated that the team had studied every single previous look for inspiration, and the goal was to weave together this history into a new, modern look, respecting our past and representing our future. The Rams officially revealed the club's new uniform designs on May 13, 2020. The team initially introduced 3 combinations, 2 of which included a royal blue jersey with yellow and white gradient numbers, as well as yellow sleeve striping similar to the new shape of the horns. Blue pants with similar gradient stripes were introduced, alongside yellow pants with solid white and blue stripes. The road jersey was given a new bone gray color, which featured white and yellow sleeve patterns and blue numbers. Bone gray pants were featured alongside the road jersey, which included a white stripe with a thinner yellow stripe. All 3 combinations used a brand new metallic blue helmet design, featuring blue face masks and the new styling of the horns similar to the team's logos. Later, however, the Rams wore 3 additional combinations: blue jerseys and bone gray pants, bone gray jerseys and blue pants, and bone gray jerseys and yellow pants. They also wore bone gray socks as a variation to their all-bone gray look. On July 13, 2021, the Rams unveiled a white alternate uniform. This set was a modernized version of the team's 1973-1999 road uniform set, complete with blue rounded numbers and Rams patch on the left shoulder. Initially, the Rams wore yellow pants with the alternate white uniforms, but in Week 10 of the 2021 season, they wore blue pants with this set. The Rams chose the white alternates with yellow pants as their Super Bowl LVI uniform. On July 30, 2022, the Rams announced that the white uniform would supplant the bone uniform as its primary road uniform. Season-by-season record. The table below shows the 5 most recent NFL regular season records along with their respective finish in the NFL playoffs. The Los Angeles Rams appeared in the postseason in 4 of the 5 last seasons, including a Super Bowl championship in the 2021 NFL season and an appearance in the Super Bowl, the first since 2001 after the 2018 NFL season. Recent notable honors with current members of the Los Angeles Rams include NFL Coach of the Year in 2017 for Sean McVay, Super Bowl MVP for Cooper Kupp in 2021, and NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 2017, 2018, and 2020 for Aaron Donald. Note: GP equals games played, W equals wins, L equals losses, WL% equals winning percentage. Notable players. Current roster. Retired numbers. Numbers that have been retired by the Rams. Hall of Famers. Former Rams in the Pro Football Hall of Fame include Joe Namath, Marshall Faulk, Ollie Matson, Orlando Pace, Andy Robustelli, Dick Night Train Lane, Kurt Warner, and Coach Earl Dutch Clark. 3 other figures associated with the Rams are members of the Hall of Fame, but were elected more on the basis of their accomplishments outside the Rams. Sid Gilman, inducted as a coach, was head coach for 5 seasons, but had his greatest success in the same position with the San Diego Chargers. Pete Rozelle, inducted as a contributor, served the Rams as public relations director and later general manager, but his induction was based mainly on his 29 years as NFL commissioner. Tex Schramm, also inducted as a contributor, was a Rams executive for 9 years, but had his greatest impact as president and general manager of the Dallas Cowboys for their first 29 years of existence. Gil Brandt, also inducted as a contributor, was a Rams scout for 3, but like Schramm, his greatest impact was his involvement with the Dallas Cowboys for their first 29 years of existence. St. Louis Football Ring of Fame. Former Rams were included in the St. Louis Football Ring of Fame, which was located in the Dome at America's Center. All players included are Hall of Famers, but there have been a few exceptions for team executives and coaches. Awards. Notable coaches. Head coaches. Current staff. Radio and television. The Rams were the first NFL team to televise their home games, in a sponsorship arrangement with Admiral Television. All home games of the 1950 NFL season were shown locally. The Rams also televised games in the early 1950s. The 1951 NFL Championship game was the first championship game televised coast to coast. During the team's original stint in Los Angeles, all games were broadcast on KMPC radio. Play-by-play announcers were Bob Kelly, Dick Enberg, Al Wisk, Bob Starr, Eddie Doucette, Paul Olden, and Steve Physiok. Analysts included Gil Stratton, Steve Bailey, Dave Niehaus, Don Drisdale, Dick Bass, Jack Youngblood, Jack Snow, and Deacon Jones. During the team's stint in St. Louis, it had a few broadcast partners. From 1995 to 1999, the Rams games were broadcast on KSD 93.7 FM. From 2000 to 2008, KLOU-FM 103.3 was the Rams' flagship station, with Steve Savard as the play-by-play announcer. Until October 2005, Jack Snow had been the color analyst since 1992, dating back to the team's original stint in Los Angeles. Snow left the booth after suffering an illness and died in January 2006. Former Rams offensive line coach Jim Hanifan joined KLOU as the color analyst the year after Jack Snow's departure. From 2009 until 2015, the Rams' flagship radio station was 101.1 FM WXOS, a sports station in St. Louis affiliated with ESPN Radio. Savard served as the play-by-play man, with DeMarco Farr in the color spot and Brian Stell reporting from the field. Preseason games not shown on a national broadcast network were seen on KTVI in St. Louis. Preseason games are produced by the Cronk-owned Denver-based Altitude Sports and Entertainment, which shares common ownership with the Rams. Months after the Rams returned to Los Angeles, it was announced on June 9, 2016, that their anchor station would be CBS-ONO station KCBS-TV will air preseason games that are not on national television. The KCBS broadcasting team includes Andrew Siciliano, Pro Football Hall of Fame former running backs Eric Dickerson and Marshall Faulk providing color commentary. In 2017, NFL Network analyst Daniel Jeremiah replaced Dickerson. KCBS's Jill Arrington and Rams reporters Danny Klopenger and Miles Simmons also provide insight. A pre-game show airs a half-hour before each game. In addition, former Rams quarterback Jim Everett and former defensive back and sports anchor/director Jim Hill provides an inside look into each upcoming game with player profiles, live interviews from booth and sideline updates, and a 30-minute post-game that provides game breakdown, film analysis, and press conference look-ins with head coach Sean McVay and select players. Spanish-language game coverage is provided by Spanish-language sister stations Univision 34 and Unimas 46 in Spanish. In 2016, the Rams news and highlights were shown on Rams Primetime Live on KABC TV on Saturday nights after college football games during the regular season, hosted by sports anchor Rob Fukuzaki, sports reporter Ashley Brewer and traffic reporter Alicia Del Valle. Starting with the 2021 preseason, KABC TV is televising Rams preseason games, along with the weekly Rams 360 show. Under the league's current national TV contracts for regular season games, Fox ONOKT-TV carries the bulk of the team's games due to Fox holding the rights to the NFC contract, along with Thursday Night Football. KCBS carries Sunday afternoon games in which the Rams host an AFC team. KNBC airs NBC Sunday Night Football and some selected Thursday night games produced by NBC. As for games that air on ESPN's Monday Night Football, KABC simulcasts these cable games carries those games as the two channels share common ownership. The league's blackout policy is not currently in effect, meaning that besides road games, all Rams home games are televised in the Los Angeles market, regardless of attendance. If the Chargers and Rams are both playing at the same time on Sunday afternoons on a certain network, in the Los Angeles market, Fox and CBS have authorization to carry the additional game on their secondary sister stations. Fox games air on KCOP-TV, while CBS games are aired on KCAL-TV. On June 20, 2016, the Rams announced their Los Angeles area radio broadcasting rights agreements. As of 2016, the Rams' official flagship radio station is KSPN-AM, while the team's official FM radio station is KCBS-FM. On July 19, 2016, the Rams announced that they had reached an agreement with KWKW for Spanish-language coverage of the team. The Rams' radio English broadcast team is J.B. Long, Maurice Jones-Drew, and DeMarco Farr, with Mario Solis and Troy Santiago comprising the Spanish broadcast team. ESPN 710 also broadcasts a 3-hour pre-game broadcast show featuring Steve Mason, Kirk Morrison, and Eric Davis, as well as a 2-hour post-game show with Travis Rogers, Morrison, and Davis. Jeff Biggs will cover the Rams during halftime. Radio affiliates. Source: English.